think we're ready. This introduction is going to be kind of different, but hey, I'm a believer that struggled with PTSD, anxiety, sexual sin, anger, and depression. As promised, I told you guys that I wanted to share my testimony, my background story, where I'm coming from and how I was able to journey through all of those struggles. And so I'm sharing this story not to feel sorry for me. This is not a pity party story, but rather it's to encourage you, to let you know that you're not alone and that there is hope. So I hope that this story encourages you. Like I said, I'm going to be very vulnerable, I'm going to be very honest and very real. And so use your viewer discretion here. This isn't meant for necessarily very younger ages, so be advised. So get comfortable, get some snacks, get some drinks, maybe some tea, because I'm going to spill all of my tea in this video. And let's just get right into it. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit rough at the beginning, but then it's going to get better. Spoiler alert, it has a good ending. At least I think so. So I'm just going to start from the beginning, a little bit background. Before my struggle, I was a super Christian. If you would have saw me, you would have thought, that's that girl, she loves Jesus. Because I did, I loved Jesus, I was really proud of that. I was following him with everything I had. And I finished my associate's degree in college. And after that, I kind of had a gap year. I was applying to colleges, and I didn't have a lot of direction. And so I thought, let me apply for jobs while I'm waiting. And I got a job that wasn't the best influence on me, and I got really lost. I made some wrong choices, and I was also put in some very uncomfortable situations that I wasn't really prepared for. So now I was isolated in this really big secret. My job had taken me away from my community that I was a part of, and so I felt like I unintentionally now I couldn't share this with anybody. And also I was so ashamed. I felt really embarrassed that and I was also disappointed in myself that I had made such a big mistake, that I let this mess go so far, and it was really hard for me to cope with that for myself. Besides that, it also was really painful and traumatizing to talk about, because talking about it triggered like me reliving certain painful experiences. I would have literal negative body responses to it, and so it was very painful to talk about, and I felt kind of like trapped in this big secret and this problem. Now my relationship with God was tainted, and I struggled hearing his voice, and that came so easily before. I felt his nearness and his presence, and now I felt like I was really distant to him. I knew intellectually that he forgave me, but it was a completely other thing to, like, my body soul receive that forgiveness, because like I said, I was so disappointed in myself, and I hadn't forgiven myself. This was such like a huge sin to me that it was hard for me to receive his forgiveness and move forward. And I kept mourning that mistake that I made. I kept mourning my sin. I kept mourning my choices, that I wasn't able to see God. I could only see my pain. So my attitude to others, people changed also in this. I felt really alone, and I felt really distrusting of people, because like I said, it was painful for me to talk about. So if people did ask, I felt really distrusting and really bothered, and really also kind of beat myself up and naive if I did share what was going on, because I felt like maybe they didn't have my best interest in mind. Just a whole lot of distrust happening, and I had never lived in a secret before. You know, I'm a very open letter type of person, and so I just didn't know how to handle all of this. It's a lot of pressure, and so my lowest point, my lowest My lowest moment, though, was when my partner was leaving the country, and he told me, to my surprise and my shock, he didn't want me, and he changed his mind about everything. That changed everything for me, and that's what I think hurt me the most, plus my disappointment in myself. And that was the problem that I was left with, and I didn't know how life could go on from that. I was so twisted into this. My life had become this really ugly thing, and I was really ashamed and really embarrassed, and I really didn't want to live. When I found out that he didn't want me, there was a lot of arguments. I was really suicidal in those arguments, and now I was also coping with really unhealthy habits to try to bandage my wounds of like sexual sin and just a bunch of different depression and darkness, and I was just in a pit and I couldn't get out. So that's the struggle. Okay, how are you guys doing? Are you guys hanging in there? I promise it gets better. The turning point is just around the corner in my story. And but before I get there, I want to share exactly what I was struggling with, because I think sometimes as believers we can kind of sweep all of the ugliness of our before testimony under the rug, and I don't want to do that, because part of the ugliness is just feeling really alone and the enemy telling you that you're the only person that struggles with this, and that's just not true. So after I had all of that really terrible news, just really disappointed, that's when I started struggling with pornography and sexual sin like self-pleasure. Those are my unhealthy coping mechanisms that I would turn to when I was feeling really, really sad and just dark and just hopeless. So now that I was, and this is a relapse. I had been set free from this before, but now that I was entangled into this, all of this mess, I started relapsing with this problem again. And so I knew I needed help. So I contacted a friend, and that's how I joined Celebrate Recovery. There was a friend that consistently reached out to me after I said that I was really struggling on Facebook, and I trusted her, and I asked her, hey, I really need help. I know you're a leader of this group. How do I join? And she said, hey, we just started this 9-month journey of recovery, and you should join. And it felt really providential, and I was a little scared, but I just joined. And Celebrate Recovery is it's a type of support group. It's kind of like helps with any hurt, hang-ups, and habits. And I joined for the traumatic things that I went through. And through 9 months, the Lord changed my heart and my life and my mind and just my thinking patterns about all of that painful things that happened to me. So, yes. So now the healing journey begins. And this is what I was talking about when I shared about how to be set free from depression. Those are little nuggets that I achieved through going through this journey that I still use today. And so if you haven't watched that video, after you're done watching this one, then go click that, and that's when I really kind of lay out the steps of how to be set free from depression, because it is possible. So I joined a Celebrate Recovery group, and it was a support group of women, and I got mentors, and I also got friends out of that, and that really helped me through time, and a journal to work through all of my problems. But also the one that really helped me was Jesus. He never rushed me. He never tried to quiet my tears. He never told me to stop crying. You know, he didn't rush me through that process. He really unpackaged my heart and really spoke lovingly to me through all of that. And he really didn't rush me. You know, he let me go through each step that I needed to take to forgive myself, to forgive others, to make peace with the past, and to have to forgive myself, to have joy again. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that was a key part of my healing process. So, well, how did this program help me specifically? Well, it really helped me in my relationships. I was, when I was in this darkness, it was really engulfing, and it was hard for me to conversate with people. I was really ashamed. I just wanted to be alone, and I didn't know how to talk to people, how to laugh. I really couldn't smile at this time. It was just a really, really hard time for me. But through this program, it surrounded me with really people that were trustworthy and that I knew had good intention, and also didn't have everything all together in the outward sense also, that also went through pain. And so it really helped me to trust other people, seeing other people's progress and journeying from something that was troubling them, and coming out on the other side in victory. People that did the program already and was doing it for other things was really encouraging for me to know that there was hope on the other side. So it really taught me to learn how to have friendships and trust people and open up. And I was not used to sharing my deepest, darkest secrets with people. And now look at me, I'm sharing it with whoever will watch it worldwide. So that was something that it really taught me to open up again and not to be on my own. And that was really helpful. So with leadership, it helped me to not only just gain trust, but also to rely not on my own understanding, not to lean on my own understanding and just do life by myself. It taught me to do life with others and to ask other people for help, which is a godly principle. He didn't have just one disciple, he had 12, and they have relationships with each other. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken, or where 2 or 3 are gathered, his presence is there also. And so it really taught me to, in a safe and trustworthy environment, to let people into my life again and to consult with them and not just do everything on my own. And another thing is it helped me to forgive other people and not to belittle the pain that I went through or how terrible the thing that they did was, but because it's a godly principle, something that he wants us to do for our healing. A healing can be directly correlated with forgiveness. Well, that's a whole nother topic. But anyways, help me to forgive other people. Help me to let go of that burden. And also, for all of the feelers out there, help me to get rid of my feelings. I feel a lot. I'm a feeler. If you're a feeler, let me know in the comments. Say, I feel all my feelings. I'm that way too. And I think people that are artistic and creative and sensitive, they have a lot of feelings. And so, help me to get all my feelings and my thoughts outside of my head and onto paper or into this share group, and it wasn't bombarding me so much anymore. Lastly, it helped me to forgive myself, and this is a really key thing. It really made me realize that I didn't so much blame my partner, I didn't blame God, I didn't blame ex or whoever, but I really blamed myself, and that was a root of where a lot of my hurt and anger, resentment, and unforgiveness lie. And just by having that tool, I don't think I would have recognized that without this program. And so it really helped me that way. We call it a program, but for me it was a journey. It really helped me to realize that I needed to forgive myself. And through help with my mentor and my leader, we were able to walk that out and pray through that, and I'm forgiven. So if I were to say that a particular step really impacted me during this journey, that would be inventory. And inventory, like I said, is when you write out all of your feelings on paper, any offenses or any unforgiveness or any hurt. And when I did all of that, I realized different relationships that I needed to work on and able to move forward, but also that a lot of that unforgiveness was laid on myself. And then that was what was so heavy. That was that really heavy burden, that where a lot of my darkness was coming from, where a lot of my trauma was coming from. And so through prayer, through help and consultation with my good Savior and with a friend, I was able to walk through that and find healing and forgiveness for myself. to forgive myself. I was able to forgive myself not just for the sin, but also for the consequences, just all of it. And so that was really awesome. Okay, how you guys doing? So now this is getting towards the end of the story. It's getting really good because now I get to tell you all the positive good changes that are happening in my life at this moment since this journey. So as I've continued, what happened to my relationships? How did those change? So going through this journey, it helped me realize areas that I needed to forgive other people, but also in areas that I needed to ask for forgiveness, because I'm not perfect either. And there are areas where I needed to ask forgiveness, where I may have hurt somebody. And so it really allowed me to be able to identify that pain and to make peace with that and release that to the Lord, and also ask for God's strength to forgive other people, because really forgiveness is nearly impossible without Him. And forgiving other people is not to belittle the pain, not to belittle what they did. I have every right, and other people have every right to feel that pain, to be upset, to be unforgiving, and yet at the same time, I've chosen to follow Jesus, and so He's extended me grace. He's given me forgiveness for all the mistakes that I've made, no matter what they are. And so at the same time, regardless of my feelings, I'm supposed to extend that grace also. And there is a freedom in that. I promise there's a freedom in that. And so He really helped me with my relationships and freedom. And moving forward now, I think I'm less offendable in relationships. And again, I'm not perfect, but if somebody says something that's hurtful to me or upsets me, I try to be slower to speak, slower to react, and to take it to the Lord, take it behind closed doors, and ask the Lord, how do I feel about this, or how do I respond to this, or Lord, this made me upset, what do I do? Or did they even mean it that way? And just to be a little bit slower to respond, and also when I'm not slow to respond, and when I might respond hurtful back, to really own up to it and really apologize and ask for forgiveness. Those are things that it's taught me in my relationships. So I'm really glad about it too. Okay, so what if you say that's great, Isabel, but what about your old life? What about all those things that you told us you struggled with, like sexual sin and depression and anxiety? So in terms of sexual sin, if a temptation still comes, which is still possible, then then I now know how to resist them. I now know the Bible says that if you resist the devil, then he'll flee. And so I literally say in my mouth, I resist you, devil, and I expect him to flee, and he does. And also, it just doesn't hold me like it used to anymore. And I don't beat myself up about temptations anymore, because Jesus was tempted too, but he knew how to respond, and he knew who he was, and he knew who his Father was. And so, also, if depression comes, I now know how to refocus my mind on the good instead of letting the darkness just consume me and be a relentless cycle and feel like a pit that I can't get out of. And so if darkness comes, because there can still be days and there can still be just random thoughts from the enemy that come to try to tear you down, I now know how to cope, and I now know how to focus my mind on the good. I choose to focus, to remember that God took me out of suicidal thoughts, that he rescued me literally from death. And so I choose to focus on that. I choose to hold on to hope. And that's really helped me on this journey. I feel like the Lord has given me tools to learn how to successfully cope, to know how to properly respond, and to know how to have victory. And that's what this channel is about. This channel is about helping you be courageous, to be confident, and to know how to conquer challenges. And I hope that this video encourages you. A hopeful reminder that I keep close to my heart, to just like, sometimes it's just like, wow, like that happened, was that God saved me from those suicidal thoughts. God saved me from that darkness, and he didn't leave me. He didn't leave me no matter my circumstance. He didn't leave me because I got pregnant out of wedlock. He didn't leave me because my partner left me. He didn't leave me because I was unfaithful to him. He didn't leave me. And if he didn't leave me through all of that, he's never gonna leave me. He's never gonna leave me. He stayed with me through all of that. He remained faithful. And so that really encourages me. And honestly, I love my life. I have so much hope for the future. And I was thinking about that earlier too. I'm about to be 25 soon. And what I mean is I'm about to have my birthday soon. And getting older used to kind of make me nervous. It used to be kind of I didn't like it. Even literally last year, it would really bother me. But oh no, getting old, all this negative stuff, But actually now that he's giving me vision and hope for the future, I'm excited. I really honestly love my life. And so I want to share that it's possible to move forward. And if the enemy is trying to tear you down, if the enemy is trying to literally destroy you, I'm just telling you, all those thoughts that he's bombarding you with are complete lies. Your life is worth much, that you're made for good works, that the Lord predestined you for good works before you were even made, for you to just walk in them. And so he has plans for good for you. And I just hope that this encourages you, that you're able to move forward and let my life be a testimony, because I'm living proof of his goodness and his ability and his power to pull you out. I want to read this. This is the end of the video, and I'm trying to get through it. I want to read this letter to you just to encourage you that God sees you, that I see you, and he has good plans for you. And I believe that God led you here. So I'm just going to read this letter real quick. I don't want to miss any words. So I believe you're in a safe place. There's hope, and I believe God led you here because he wants so much more for you. Choosing forgiveness and healing and making peace with the past doesn't belittle the pain you went through, and it doesn't belittle you either. But you deserve to be free from that pain. Your life is not meant to be haunted. God doesn't want a miserable life for you. This doesn't have to be your lot. He wants to give you good gifts. Also, your dreams and your calling didn't end. Didn't end when any of those painful things happened to you. What God placed inside of you, those desires, your dreams, they're custom made. It doesn't expire, and you can't even forfeit it. When you come back to him, you're 100% received. This video felt so good to record, and I'm so excited to put it out there. If you liked it, please show me some love. Show me in the comments that this encouraged you. Share it on your Instagram story. I'm going to pose real quick for you. Take a picture. Take a picture and put it on your Instagram story. I'm going to share it too. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you can see the next video where I encourage you how to be confident and courageous to conquer challenges. I'm Isabel Sayers, and I'm your confidence booster to help you conquer challenges, and I'll see you next time.